Hey Facebook and Commonplace, my name is Chad and I'm on staff here at the Commonplace in Lock Haven, and I just wanted to take a couple minutes and talk to you about some new things that we are doing here in the coming weeks. At the Commonplace, we want to be developing and maturing continually as we follow Jesus together. And as we begin to emerge from a very unusual and complicated year, we want to be intentional about continuing this process together. So, beginning in the first week of February, we're going to be starting 3 new and very exciting book studies together. Now, they're like this: Gospel Fluency by Jeff Vanderstelt, which is going to be led by our campus pastor, Bill. And Gospel Fluency is about learning to speak the truths of Jesus into the everyday stuff of life, to ourselves and to those around us. Another study is going to be The Meaning of Marriage by Timothy Keller. Now, myself and my wife are going to be leading this study, and this study essentially strives to unearth the mystery of marriage as God originally intended it, in contrast to what the world around us says it is. Thirdly, we're going to be doing a study called Soul Care, which is going to be led by Josh and Sarah Grimes. Soul Care is written by Rob Raymer, and what it's really about is learning to apply the healing tools of God to the brokenness of ourselves so we can develop both spiritually and emotionally. So, like I mentioned a moment ago, Beth and myself are going to be leading this study on The Meaning of Marriage by Timothy Keller. Now, I've used this study for years in premarital counseling because, let's face it, our culture doesn't do us any favors when it comes to saying what marriage is. For many in our society, it's little more than a Facebook status. But as Christians, it's important for us to realize that marriage, as God designed it, is meant to be the second most important relationship that we experience, next to our relationship with Him. Now, if you're single, don't count yourself out. This is for you as well. Because having a biblical understanding of marriage will directly affect and influence your choice on a future spouse. Now, maybe you think you have a good marriage. Wonderful. That means there's room for you to have a great marriage. And so I invite you to join us for that. Perhaps you have a great marriage already. Well, then you can come and you can join us and give us some pointers along the way. One of my favorite quotes that Tim opens with in his book is this. He says, "While marriage is many things, it is anything but sentimental. Marriage is glorious, but hard. It's a burning joy and a strength, and yet it is also blood, sweat, and tears. Humbling defeats and exhausting victories. No marriage I know more than a few weeks old could be described as a fairy tale come true." Now, that term fairy tale makes me smile. Perhaps you have a fairy tale marriage. I highly doubt it. If your marriage isn't a fairy tale come true, and you want God's perspective on His original design and intention for what marriage is to be, consider joining us for this study. I would love to have you in this time. Now, as I said earlier, I mentioned a few moments ago, we're going to begin these 3 studies in the first week of February. And we want your input on a few things so that we can best prepare in the coming weeks before they start. So if you could take a minute and you could click the link below to answer a few key questions that will greatly inform our planning. We would really appreciate it. So pick on the link, follow through to it's just a few question survey, and that's going to better help us prepare in these upcoming weeks. Commonplace, I look forward to hearing back from you. I look forward to joining you in these exciting new adventures. Be blessed. We'll talk to you soon.
Hello, Commonplace. Bill Corbin here, college minister here at the Commonplace. And I just want to wish you a happy new year. It's a few days old, I think, but with New Year's comes all kinds of resolutions, things that we want to accomplish, and maybe for you, like me, there's sort of this idea that I want to share with that family member about Jesus or a coworker. For me, it's college students, but we all know that that's can be really awkward. We don't know how to do that. Like, what does it look like to sort of see Jesus speak through us into another person's life to help them understand who he is? And that's what my class that I'm going to be leading with my wife, Heidi, that's what my class is going to be all about. It's on this book called Gospel Fluency. This is a really, really good book. And it's all about how does the gospel come into my life, into our lives individually and collectively as a church, and change the way we think about every aspect of our life. And so the gospel sort of speaks fluently into those places, and then we speak it back out in everyday occasions with people to point them towards Jesus. And so this isn't like the scary evangelism thing, like people are always a little nervous about that. I understand that. It can be incredibly awkward. This is something completely different. It's really about living life in light of the gospel that Jesus has provided for us and worked into our lives. And as part of that, then speaking that out in natural, fluent ways into the lives of our spheres of influence, those relationships that we have with family members and with coworkers and with friends and with college students perhaps and so on. So I want to invite you to come to and be a part of this discussion. And we're still working out the details. Don't forget to click on the link that will take you to a survey that will allow you to say, yeah, I want to be in gospel fluency. I want to be on this particular day and so on. And we'll work all the details out very soon and get started probably in early February. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
All right, it's me, Pastor Josh, and
Sarah.
And we're going to talk a little bit about a Bible study that we're going to run called Soul Care. And we've done this before, and a lot of it is just stories that God's done in our own life over the last few years that we are excited to share with you. But the heart behind it is that a lot of us, I've realized, we go through life anxious and depressed and in these cycles of sin. And we know and we think like following Jesus should bring about a certain amount of freedom in my life. And how you're feeling doesn't seem to be corresponding to what you read in the Bible about how a Christian's life should look. And so we want to kind of understand what it means to live in freedom from a lot of the things that wear us down. Sarah?
Yeah, I think we have discovered that our emotional and our mental and our spiritual health are all very intertwined, and sometimes we forget to work on our spiritual health and that our overall health suffers because of that.
Yeah, so some of the things we're going to talk about include the fact that kind of at the core of this, we believe that God speaks to us. And so we want to learn how to hear his voice really well in our lives. And so that's going to be an important part. And once we hear his voice, boy, he has so much to share with us. You know, Jesus has an opinion about things, and we want to hear exactly what it is that Jesus is feeling about us and has to say for us.
We'll be learning about how to give and also receive forgiveness.
How our families of origin, how we were raised, really deeply affects the way that we see the world and understand God, and how we can take ownership of our story and write something beautiful with God.
Yeah, we'll also be talking about foundational lies that we believe about ourselves and how to get free from those.
There is a spiritual world all around us that we are often unaware of, and our hope is to understand biblically the worldview that Jesus presented when he taught his disciples all about how they had authority in God's kingdom and how to exercise that well.
And we will also be talking about wounds and how Jesus wants to heal some of these inner hurts of ours and how to experience freedom and healing in that.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. This is not an easy study for the faint of heart. Like if you're looking for something just fun and light to pass the time, this is probably not for you. But if you want to dig deep into your soul and hear what Jesus has to say to you and really find freedom from a lot of the things that keep us in bondage, then I would invite you to join Sarah and I and others on this journey. We don't have the details worked out, but we are inviting you to follow through with the link that we're listing here that will take you to a survey. And we're really trying to discern our next steps around time and location and all of those important things. So if soul care sounds good to you, sounds like something you're interested in, please follow up with that. Thanks so much.